They were built in an era when steel was thick, engines were loud, and reliability wasn't a marketing word, it was a way of life. Before computers ran diagnostics, before touchscreens replaced gauges, there were machines that conquered mountains, crossed deserts, and pulled America's freight through ice, rain, and blazing heat without ever backing down. These weren't pickup trucks. These were the giants of the highway, the rigs that could run 1,000,000 miles, survive 3 rebuilds, and still roll out for another load. Today we're going back to the decade of diesel thunder to celebrate the 10 most reliable American trucks of the 1980s. The trucks that refused to die. Let's hit the road. Number 1. Peterbilt 359. When people talk about the golden age of American trucking, one name always rumbles to the surface: Peterbilt 359. Produced from 1967 to 1987, it was the truck that defined reliability, endurance, and pride on the open road. The 1980s were its final and most refined years, and by then the 359 had earned a reputation as the unbreakable long-haul warrior that could take anything the American highway could throw at it. The Peterbilt 359 was built with a handcrafted precision that modern trucks can only dream of. Its aluminum body wasn't just for show. It was a revolution in durability and weight reduction. Aluminum panels resisted rust better than steel, allowing the 359 to age gracefully even in harsh northern climates where salt destroyed most rigs. Underneath, a stout steel frame carried massive loads day after day, year after year, often far beyond rated capacity. At its heart, the 359 could be equipped with the most legendary diesel engines of the time: Cummins NTC Big Cam, Caterpillar 3406B, or Detroit Diesel 8V92. Each had its own loyal following, but they all shared one trait: they were built to last. With proper oil changes, fuel filter replacements, and valve adjustments, these engines easily crossed the 1,000,000-mile mark. And when they finally needed a rebuild, owner-operators didn't panic. They simply tore them down, replaced liners and bearings, and sent them back to work. The 359 was a truck designed to be maintained, not replaced. Another reason the 359 earned its reputation was its mechanical simplicity. This was a truck from an era before electronics took over. Its fuel systems were mechanical, its gauges analog, and its wiring straightforward. A good mechanic, or even a determined driver with a few tools, could diagnose and repair most issues on the side of the road. That meant less downtime, less expense, and more miles covered. But reliability wasn't just about the engine. The 359's Fuller transmissions, Rockwell axles, and air suspensions were designed for abuse. Whether hauling cross-country freight or heavy loads over mountain passes, it rarely failed. Drivers often said, "If a 359 leaves you stranded, it's because you didn't listen to it." These trucks talked to their drivers through sound and feel, and those who understood them swore by them. Even today, decades later, Peterbilt 359s still appear on highways and at truck shows, their chrome polished, their engines growling strong. Many have outlasted multiple owners and millions of miles. For many, the 359 wasn't just reliable, it was immortal, the kind of machine that made men fall in love with trucking itself. Number 2. Kenworth W900. If the Peterbilt 359 was the heart of the highway, the Kenworth W900 was its spine, strong, steady, and built to carry America's freight from coast to coast without missing a beat. Few trucks in history have earned a reputation as bulletproof as the W900, especially the versions rolling out in the 1980s. It was the truck you bought when you planned to run 1,000,000 miles and then rebuild it to do 1,000,000 more. The W900's secret wasn't in flashy innovation, it was in brute mechanical perfection. The frame was famously overbuilt, available in single or double rail configurations that could take years of pounding without cracking. The cab construction was strong but simple, and while comfort was minimal by modern standards, drivers loved it for its durability. The doors closed with a heavy metallic thud that felt like quality, and the dashboard layout gave easy access to gauges and switches that rarely failed. Under the hood, the W900 could be fitted with legendary engines like the Cummins Big Cam 3, Caterpillar 3406B, or Detroit Diesel 8V92 Silver. These weren't just engines, they were iron legends. The Big Cam series from Cummins was known for efficient fuel delivery and long life, while the 3406B from Caterpillar was a torque monster capable of pulling 80,000 pounds without breaking a sweat. Each could easily reach 1 million miles with proper maintenance, and many did. These power plants were mated to Eaton Fuller Road Ranger transmissions, often 13 or 18 speeds, giving drivers precise control over torque and power delivery on any terrain. Reliability wasn't just mechanical, it was also environmental. The W900 could handle anything. In Alaska's freezing cold, the Cummins engines would start after a night of idling. In the desert, cooling systems held steady even in 110-degree Fahrenheit heat. This truck was designed for truckers who couldn't afford breakdowns, owner-operators who lived by the mile. Maintenance was a breeze for anyone who knew their way around a wrench. The W900 was built so you could reach every filter, belt, and fitting without needing to dismantle half the truck. Parts were plentiful, and Kenworth's dealer network ensured drivers could get back on the road fast. Drivers often formed emotional bonds with their W900s. They gave them names, decorated their cabs, and slept in them for years. The W900 didn't just make money, it made memories. And that's why, even 40 years later, you can still find 1980s W900s hauling freight, proving that this machine was and remains the undisputed million-mile king of American highways. Number 3. Freightliner FLD 120. As the 1980s drew to a close, the trucking world was changing. Aerodynamics, comfort, and fuel efficiency were becoming priorities, but Freightliner refused to abandon reliability in pursuit of modern looks. Enter the Freightliner FLD 120, launched in the late 1980s and destined to become one of the most dependable rigs ever built. It was the bridge between old-school toughness and new-age efficiency, and it struck that balance perfectly. The FLD 120 was designed for fleets that valued uptime above all else. It featured a lightweight aluminum cab, a strong steel frame, and a service-friendly design that mechanics loved. Unlike other brands experimenting with fragile plastic and early electronics, Freightliner stuck with what worked: mechanical dependability. The FLD 120 became known for running thousands of miles without failure and for being easy and affordable to maintain. Under the hood, Freightliner gave buyers the best of the best: Detroit Diesel 60 series, Cummins NTC 400, or Caterpillar 3406B engines. These power plants were the backbone of America's freight industry, each capable of high mileage and simple maintenance. The Detroit 60 series, introduced near the end of the decade, became especially famous for combining reliability with surprising fuel economy. Paired with Eaton Fuller transmissions, these rigs delivered seamless shifting and dependable torque on long hauls. Another reason for the FLD 120's reliability was its modular construction. Panels, wiring, and components were easy to replace, saving fleets from long service times. The electrical system was well organized, the cooling systems overbuilt, and corrosion protection far better than earlier Freightliner models. For mechanics and owner-operators alike, it was a dream truck to work on. Drivers appreciated that the FLD wasn't just reliable, it was comfortable too. The improved insulation, air-ride seats, and quieter cab made it a dependable companion for cross-country runs. It was the first Freightliner that truly blended durability, comfort, and modern looks without compromising the reliability that truckers demanded. To this day, the FLD 120 remains a beloved workhorse. Many still roll down highways, hauling freight, long after their intended lifespan. Some have been rebuilt multiple times, proof that when Freightliner built this truck, they built it to last forever. In the world of big rigs, the FLD 120 didn't just represent progress, it redefined what reliability in the modern age looked like. Number 4. Mack Superliner. When you heard that deep, throaty growl of a Mack E9 V8 climbing a hill in the 1980s, you knew one thing: the driver behind the wheel was commanding one of the toughest trucks ever built. The Mack Superliner, introduced in 1977 and perfected through the 1980s, was a mechanical brute that could take abuse most trucks couldn't even dream of surviving. It wasn't built for the faint-hearted. It was built for loggers, heavy haulers, and long-distance warriors who demanded absolute toughness from their machines. The secret to the Superliner's reliability lay in Mack's unique approach to engineering. While most truck manufacturers sourced parts from outside suppliers, Mack designed and built almost everything in-house, from engines to transmissions to axles. This meant every component worked in perfect harmony, tuned and tested to handle extreme stress. The E6 inline-6 and E9 V8 engines became legends. The E9, in particular, was a powerhouse of torque, capable of pulling 80,000 pounds up a grade without flinching, all while lasting 500,000 miles before needing any major work. The Superliner's frame and suspension were equally indestructible. Mack's double-rail steel chassis could withstand years of heavy hauling without flexing or cracking. Even in punishing industries like mining and logging, these trucks earned reputations as machines that simply wouldn't die. Cab quality was rugged, not refined. Metal dashboards, heavy switches, and gauges that worked every time. Air systems were simple but effective, and the cooling setup was one of the most durable in the business. While some drivers found the ride stiff and loud, they'd still choose the Superliner because they trusted it. They knew it would start every morning, even after sitting overnight in sub-zero temperatures. The Mack Bulldog hood ornament became a badge of pride for drivers. Owning a Superliner meant you were serious about trucking. You weren't in it for glamour. You were in it to get the job done. To this day, old Superliners can be found still hauling, especially in Australia and the US Midwest. Decades later, these machines continue to prove Mack's famous slogan true: born ready. Number 5. International Transtar II. In the world of big trucking fleets during the 1980s, one name quietly stood above the rest for pure dependability: International Harvester's Transtar II. It wasn't flashy like a Peterbilt or ruggedly handsome like a W900, but the Transtar II was the unsung hero that kept American freight moving reliably, mile after mile, day after day. The Transtar II came in both cabover and conventional versions, depending on application. Fleet managers loved it for one simple reason: uptime. This truck spent less time in the shop and more time on the road than almost any of its rivals. It was built for companies and owner-operators who valued function over flair. Power came from proven heavy-duty engines: Cummins NTC Big Cam, Detroit Diesel 8V71, and International's own DT466 and DT530. These engines had reputations for being nearly unkillable. The Cummins Big Cam engines, for example, could reach 800,000 miles before rebuild with regular oil changes and proper cooling maintenance. The Detroit 8V71, while noisy, was a mechanical marvel. A two-stroke diesel that would keep running even under the harshest conditions. The frame and suspension systems were simple, strong, and modular, designed to handle long-haul trailers or city freight alike. International also earned praise for its serviceability. Everything from filters to wiring looms was laid out logically, making it easy for mechanics to diagnose and repair problems quickly. The cab wasn't luxurious, but it was built to last: thick metal panels, solid door seals, and gauges that rarely failed. Many Transtar IIs operated in harsh fleet environments for a decade or more without major issues. Truckers appreciated that parts were affordable and available almost anywhere in the country, thanks to International's vast dealer network. Even after the 1980s, Transtar IIIs found second lives in smaller regional hauls or construction service. Some still run today, a testament to their reliability. In an industry that values uptime above everything else, the International Transtar II earned its reputation the hard way, mile by dependable mile. Number 6. White Western Star 4964. If there was ever a truck that deserved to be called a rolling fortress, it was the White Western Star 4964. Born during the merger of White Motor Company and Western Star, the 4964 represented the absolute peak of old-school durability. It was the truck of choice for drivers who worked the hardest routes, logging roads, mountain passes, and construction zones, where failure wasn't an option. The 4964 was built by hand, and it showed. Each truck was crafted with precision and pride, using thick-gauge steel and reinforced components throughout. The frame was exceptionally strong, designed to resist twisting under extreme loads. Many of these trucks were ordered with double-rail chassis and heavy-duty axles for severe-duty applications, giving them unmatched toughness in their class. Under the hood, the 4964 typically housed legendary power plants, Cummins NTC Big Cam, Caterpillar 3406, or Detroit Diesel 8V92. These engines were not only powerful but also easy to maintain. The mechanical fuel injection and simple electronics meant fewer breakdowns and easier roadside fixes. Mated to Eaton Fuller 13 or 18-speed transmissions, these rigs could conquer any grade and carry heavy loads all day long without complaint. What set Western Star apart was craftsmanship. Wiring harnesses were meticulously organized, insulation was thicker than average, and fittings were industrial grade. The cab interiors weren't luxurious, but they were solid. Everything from the seat rails to the window cranks was overbuilt. Drivers knew they could slam the doors 1,000 times, drive through mud, snow, or gravel, and nothing would rattle loose. Reliability was baked into the truck's DNA. Owners often say these machines don't wear out, they just get repainted. Many 4964s worked in industries where trucks rarely last a decade, yet these often served for 20 or 30 years with only periodic rebuilds. Today, restored Western Star 4964s are prized by collectors and working drivers alike. They stand as reminders of an era when trucks were machines of metal, not plastic, and when reliability meant brute strength, not software stability. Number 7. Autocar AT64. For decades, Autocar was synonymous with toughness, and in the 1980s, their AT64 model carried that tradition like a badge of honor. Designed for the harshest jobs, from refuse hauling to heavy construction and logging, the AT64 wasn't built to win beauty contests. It was built to survive hell and come back for more. Every inch of the AT64 screamed industrial strength. The truck's massive double-channel frame rails, reinforced suspension, and simple mechanical systems made it almost impossible to kill. There was no wasted design, no unnecessary electronics, just steel, diesel, and purpose. The AT64 could be equipped with the industry's most reliable powerhouses, Cummins Big Cam, Caterpillar 3406B, or Detroit Diesel 8V92 engines. These engines, coupled with Fuller Road Ranger transmissions, formed one of the most bulletproof driveline combinations in trucking history. Mechanics loved the AT64 because it was easy to service. Hoods opened wide, wiring was straightforward, and components were mounted with accessibility in mind. Autocar trucks were famous for their longevity under abuse. They were common sights at construction sites, garbage routes, and quarries, places where trucks were punished daily. Yet, the AT64 kept running. Even when the body panels rusted or the paint faded, the engine and frame soldiered on. Drivers often joked that the autocar would outlast them, and in many cases it did. Its steering was heavy, the cab noisy, but reliability was second to none. Fleets bought them because they delivered decades of dependable service without constant mechanical headaches. Even today, many 1980s autocar AT64s remain in service, rebuilt, repainted, and still earning their keep. They're a living testament to a time when American trucks were overbuilt on purpose, when manufacturers cared about durability first, and when autocar tough was more than a slogan, it was a promise etched in steel. Number 8. Ford LTL 9000. In the 1980s, Ford wasn't just building pickups, they were crafting serious Class 8 heavy-duty trucks. The LTL 9000, introduced in the early 80s, was Ford's answer to Peterbilt and Kenworth, and it turned out to be one of the most reliable big rigs Ford ever built. The LTL 9000 combined aerodynamic design, heavy-duty engineering, and an eye for driver comfort that was ahead of its time. It was built on a twin-rail steel frame designed for extreme hauling and was available in various configurations, from day cab to full sleeper. Power came from dependable heavy hitters: Cummins NTC 400, Detroit Diesel 8V92, and Caterpillar 3406 engines. Each provided serious torque and unmatched durability. Many owner-operators swore by the CAT 3406 version, claiming it could pull 100,000 miles between oil changes and last close to 1,000,000 miles before overhaul. The LTL's reliability was enhanced by its straightforward design. Ford engineers prioritized ease of maintenance, wide hood openings, simple electrical systems, and clearly routed fuel and air lines. This meant mechanics could work faster and reduce downtime, a major advantage for fleet operators. Inside, the LTL 9000 was more refined than most trucks of the era. It featured comfortable seating, strong HVAC systems, and one of the quietest cabs in its class. Yet it never sacrificed durability for comfort. The materials used were built to last, not wear out. Though Ford eventually left the heavy truck market, the LTL 9000's reputation remains strong. Many still run today in vocational or regional work, proving how well they were built. The LTL 9000 was a forgotten powerhouse, overshadowed by flashier brands, but quietly one of the most reliable trucks of its decade, a symbol of Ford's engineering excellence in heavy-duty trucking. Number 9. Marmon 57P. Among owner-operators, Marmon trucks were almost mythical. Built in small batches and assembled largely by hand in Garland, Texas, the Marmon 57P of the 1980s was a truck for drivers who demanded perfection and reliability that matched no other. Marmon was often called the Rolls-Royce of trucks, but it wasn't because of luxury, it was because of craftsmanship. Every truck was built to order, and every weld, bolt, and line was hand-checked. There was no assembly line rush. These rigs were built with patience and pride. Underneath that clean, square-hooded body were the most dependable components available: Cummins Big Cam 4, Caterpillar 3406B, or Detroit Diesel 8V92 engines, combined with Fuller transmissions and Rockwell axles. This formula of proven parts, combined with Marmon's superior build quality, created trucks that outlasted their competition by decades. The electrical systems were wired with care, corrosion-proofed connectors, and premium materials, small details that made big differences over time. The frames were thick, hand-welded steel with perfect alignment. The result? These trucks rarely suffered from electrical gremlins or frame fatigue. Drivers who owned Marmons often kept them for life. They cost more up front, but their reliability and build quality paid back tenfold. Many 1980s Marmons are still running today, especially among collectors and small fleets that recognize their enduring toughness. Though the company closed its doors in 1997, Marmon's 1980s trucks remain legendary. They weren't just reliable, they were built like precision instruments, machines that combined beauty, brains, and brawn in perfect harmony. Number 10. Diamond Rio Giant. Before fading into history, Diamond Rio left the world with one of the toughest trucks ever built, the Diamond Rio Giant. Produced through the late 1970s and early 1980s, this rig earned a cult following for its raw durability and no-nonsense reliability. The Giant was designed at a time when trucks were meant to be fixed with wrenches, not computers. Its steel double-rail chassis, straightforward suspension, and simple mechanical systems made it easy to maintain and hard to break. Engines like the Cummins NTC 400, Detroit Diesel 8V71, and Caterpillar 3406 gave it dependable pulling power, while the Eaton Fuller 13-speed transmission provided precise control under heavy loads. These components, chosen for their proven track record, made the Giant nearly indestructible. Truckers loved the Diamond Rio for one reason: It kept working when others didn't. It could handle overloading, rough terrain, and terrible weather without constant breakdowns. The cab construction was rugged, visibility excellent, and the layout practical. Though the brand couldn't survive the financial storms of the 1980s, its trucks did. Many giants went on to serve in logging, farming, and construction fleets well into the 2000s. They were relics of an era when steel ruled, and reliability wasn't a marketing word, it was a way of life. Today, surviving Diamond Rio giants are prized among enthusiasts. Their boxy looks and tough-as-nails builds serve as reminders of when American trucks were engineered for strength, not style, and when reliability meant iron, grease, and grit. If you love old-school trucking, if you believe real machines never die, then hit that like button, subscribe, and ride with us again as we bring you more stories of the iron giants that built America.